Welcome, Primavera.
Hola.
We just recorded the whole episode in Spanish. So now we have to switch brain, so it's all English. So it's a true blessing to have you. Thank you so much for your time and to sharing with us, with all the women's community and everybody who watched this video about your career, your experience, and all the tips that you are going to share today with us. So thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So everybody that don't have the blessing to meet you yet, so would you tell us where you come from and also how you started with spirituality, yoga, meditation?
Sure. So I'm from Mexico, and what I just shared in Spanish, so I'm going to try to stick to the same words of story. I feel from a young age, I was always very curious about life. I remember having conversations with God, being like 5-6 years old and going, are you going to tell me what this is about? Because I really don't believe life is just about having a job and children. Like, I felt that I lived in another place, another dimension. And I guess that's something that most children do, right? Now that we study, we know that children are in another place up to like 7 years old. So I guess I was in that stage when one day I was walking with my mom in Mexico and we ran into a gypsy, a woman that she asked my mom, can I read your lock? And my mom gave her her palm. And I must have been 5-6 because I remember like trying to reach like this to see my mom's palm, because the woman was telling her like, oh, you're married, you have 4 children, you just moved to this town, like all things that were real. And I was like, what is she reading in my mom's palms? I don't see letters there or anything written. So the woman also told my mom things that my mom was not very happy, and I couldn't quite understand what the woman was saying. So my mom got all discombobulated and walked away. And I remember she pulled some money out of her pocket and gave it to the gypsy woman. And the gypsy woman said, I don't want your money, I just want to help you with what I see. So I asked my mom when we walked away, and I said, how did this woman know all of that about our family? And my mom said, oh, she was just making it up. And I said, no, she wasn't making it up. She saw something. And my mom was like, well, this is how she makes money. So she was asking for money. And I'm like, but she didn't want to take your money. So what was all this about? I was very intrigued by it. And I kept asking my mom, so who are the gypsies? And where did she get her information? And my mom said, well, they just have a very strong intuition. They believe they can talk to the stars and things like that. And I kept asking questions about gypsies. And the more my mom told me, the more fascinated I got with it, right? And that kind of stayed in the back of my mind. Then when I graduated from college, I moved to New York. And in New York at that time, there were maybe 2, I'm talking 30 years ago, there were maybe just 2 yoga centers in the entire city. And I would like go to a yoga class here and there, but I wasn't really committed to have a spiritual life. I was very curious and I would go once in a while. But of course, if somebody would say, hey, you want to go to the beach? I'll be like, yeah, no yoga class. Let's go to the beach better, right? So then when I was living in New York, I met somebody from Mexico and got married to him and moved back to Mexico. And I was living in a very small town in the corner of Mexico, south of Tulum, about 2 hours south of Tulum. And I married the wrong person, because sometimes we make decisions that we have to pay for them. And those decisions sometimes are based in us neglecting our dreams, neglecting our thoughts, because we're not even aware of our thoughts. We're not aware of our emotions. Or we are, but we live in fear. So at that moment, getting married to this person felt like the right thing, but it wasn't. And it was there where I was in a deep state of depression when I met a Kundalini yoga teacher. And that Kundalini yoga teacher actually gave me a phone number. I told him I'm going to New York in the summer, and he said, you must call this teacher. I just met him in the States and he's amazing. So that phone number was the phone number of Dr. Levry. And when I got to New York, I called him. And at that point, Dr. Levry used to read the palm. And it's really not until a couple of years ago that I realized that my initiation to this other world was with a gypsy reading my palm, and then Dr. Levry reading my palm. He doesn't do it anymore because he says that we shouldn't be attached to those things. But that was my experience with him. And this was in 1993. So he read my palm, and without me saying anything, he looked at me and he said, don't worry, you can stop crying. This is not the man for you. You're going to get divorced. And by the way, I know you're with him because your soul was a soul who had many children another lifetime and wants to be pregnant again. And I was like, I was blown away because I didn't open my mouth. I didn't share anything. And I didn't want to share because I thought it was stupid to ask somebody, okay, help me to get pregnant, but then I also want to get divorced, right? Like two opposite wishes, desires that I thought this man is going to think I'm crazy. But that's what he read from me, from my aura, from my palm. And then he gave me a series of meditations and rituals that I lived through them. Like it was 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours at night. I didn't want to do anything else. I was so dedicated to that practice, so that in 3 months I was pregnant. I was pregnant with my daughter Katya, that many of the NAM community knows. She's 22 years old. And I had been trying to get pregnant for 3 years and nothing was happening. And in 3 months of the spiritual practice that Dr. Levry gave me, I was pregnant. And what he didn't tell me was like, you're going to need to confront your fears in order to feel better. And that's what happened. I continued with my practice. And by the time my daughter Katya was 6 months old, I got divorced. And obviously after this experience, Dr. Levry became my teacher, my master. Anything he would give me, any ritual, I'll say yes. And in fact, the program, the training Kabbalah of Birth, came from me asking him, we have to share everything you share with me, how I got pregnant, how I understood to prepare my body, my mind, my soul, because finding your soul, finding my soul at that point and understanding the desires of my soul was actually what helped me to get pregnant and helped me to prepare my body for that. So years later, one day we're in class in New York and he said, hey, Prima, we need to meet because I'm ready to put together that training and you're going to help me. So it was very sweet. It was a gift. That's how that program came from. So that's my story. That's how it started and never left the practice.
And then after that encounter and that obviously that changed your life, you decided to become a teacher and just share. It was like something you thought about it. It was just naturally going.
So what happened is when I was in Mexico still, my teacher from there, like I said, I lived in a little town that was in the border of Belize, Guatemala, and Mexico, like the jungle, imagine there. And my teacher said, you know, you have been so dedicated, so studious to these practices that you need to start sharing and you need to start teaching. So I kind of started to teach Kundalini without a training. I didn't get my training until I moved to New York and I got certified in 99 for Kundalini. And then I've done like Tibetan Buddhism, learning from Robert Thurman, who is, a master in Buddhism in New York and in the Western world, Sharon Salzberg, learning mindfulness. And then Dr. Levry created NAM in 2006. And since then, I did NAM 1, NAM 2, NAM 3, Kabbalah Birth, all the harmonium trainings. And Dr. Levry has invited me to teach training. So I've been traveling and studying from him, training teachers and bringing the teachings to Mexico as well. So it's been a blessing, a beautiful journey.
So beautiful. Prima, I want to know, what inspires you every day when you wake up and you're like, what's your motivation, like your motor?
So,
if there's one, because sometimes there's so many.
Of course there is one. I feel very committed. I feel very committed to fulfill the destiny of my soul. I feel very privileged that I have had the opportunity to come into a life where I met so many masters, so many teachers that have downloaded all this information to me, that I want to make sure I fulfill the destiny of my soul, right? I grew up in a family where, like I said, privileged. We were well off. I had everything I need. And at the same time was a family with challenges, like many families, where there was sexual abuse in my family. I was exposed to that. And even though it's a very traumatic experience, with my spiritual practice, I have learned to forgive, to have compassion for that moment. And many women are exposed to experiences like that, and I feel that don't have the tools to find compassion in their heart and move on, and they end up being stuck in very difficult situations like anger and sadness, depression, feeling guilty, and all of those things. And for me, through all my spiritual practice, I have been able to heal my heart and really find compassion for the situation, find compassion for who I was in that moment, for that person, and all of those things, right? And through life, we are exposed every day to challenging situations. And for me, connecting to love is what has helped me to move on and transform my life.
That's beautiful, Prima. And it's amazing that you use your experiences and as a vehicle, right, to transform it. I just want to say transform it into love, because it's your program. But it's true. You cannot give someone something that you don't have. So when you have, the experience, the healing, and the tools that you gain from going through that process of letting go, of healing, of forgiveness, and then you can share with others. So I've been watching on your Instagram, and I see that you have these 21 days programs, and I think coming from the program of Transform with Love. So I wanted to ask you first, what is Transform with Love? And then if you can tell us a little bit about this 21-day program.
Yes. So Transform with Love is what I call my practice, right? Putting together all the teachings that I've been privileged enough to receive in life and to share them. And I share a little bit, we all have challenges in life. We all have traumatic experiences in life. Not all of us, but many of us. And to be able to transform those experiences with love, that's where I found healing. And that's what I want to share with people. That's what I want people to know and experience, that there is a possibility. We don't have to live in fear. We don't have to live in anger and sadness. There's a possibility to transform things and transform your life into a place of love. So just last year, I created my website, and I channel all my teachings into a way for people to transform with love. And I'm doing a 21-day program that started with my own practices. About 5 years ago, I did a cleansing of food, eating certain foods that are going to help you to feel uplifted and feel good and have energy and sleep well and feel lighter in your body. I did that. And then after the 21 days, I was feeling so great and my mind was so sharp that I thought, what if I do a cleanse of my emotions and that I connect with love? That's my default mechanism. Love, love, love. And I did it. And I was like, oh my God, Lola, I was flying so high. Like I was walking down the street, like making love to the trees and making love to the sky, the cosmos. It was like incredible. So I started to do this program. A dear friend of mine is the director of a corporation, and she asked me, I want you to teach this. I'm your first corporate client. And I was like, what? So to teach in corporate, I had to create a very structured plan, and I came up with this Transform with Love in 21 days, which I've done it, like I said, for 5 years. But this year, I'm very excited. I created a whole platform online so people can log in, create their profile, and every day a new teaching unlocks. So you have day 1, and you open that one. You cannot open day 5 or day 21. Every day, the right date starts to unlock. So for 21 days, I will be your guidance on what to eat, how to eat it. I'll give you some of Nam Yoga secrets in terms of breathing work and meditations. And the what to eat is what is going to help you transform your body. The breathing practices and meditation will help you to transform your mind. And the third part, the most important part to me, is transform your soul. So that's when we go deep inside and I share with you a lot of the teachings that have helped me to transform with love, to speak to your soul, to find communion with your soul, and to connect to that force that keeps the cosmos together, which is love. So it's amazing. I've done it again and people are like blown away with the results. Because some of these teachings, you may know them and, some of the not friends, they're like, oh, okay, I know that already. But putting your seatbelt for 21 days and having a commitment to do something with a group of people, creating that egregore together, that all together we're transforming with love with 21 days, it's so powerful, so powerful. And you can read some of the testimonials on my website.
Wow. I was thinking what you're saying because now is the age of the intellectual knowledge, right? So we all know what to do, but we don't do it. So I think something like this is so important because it is not, we all think we know, right? And that prevents us to really getting the wisdom, that the wisdom is like through the practice. So I love this program.
Thank you, Lola. And for anybody in this group, I'm offering a 20% discount anytime they sign up. I have an early bird special, I think, until Friday, so for 2 more days. But the 20% discounts applies anytime. The course goes from May 1st through May 21st.
Wow, that's amazing. And for everybody that wants to connect with you, like through social media, you are transform_with_love. And website, it's at primaverasalva.com. I'm going to be putting all this information as well down here somewhere. And I want to thank you one more time, Prima, for your time.
Thank you, Lola. This is amazing, and best of luck with all these circles. It's so necessary that we come together as women. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I may be calling you soon because I have so many other questions. So
Anytime.